Hi, it's Kristen here again, and welcome to another process video. And today I'm going to be using Color Rush Studios Funny Bunny April kit. And the kit came with this really pretty floral paper, and so I decided I want to fussy cut it out. Now, I initially had a thought where I was going to still do a layout, kind of laying out the flowers in a diagonal pattern with just a different backing paper and kind of have the flowers popped up, but I ended up deciding to go in a totally different direction. So here I'm just looking through the papers, deciding, just trying to figure out what I want to do with this layout. As soon as I saw that floral paper, I knew I wanted to fussy cut it out, but I really did not have like a plan for what exactly I wanted to do with it. And so I kind of thought, well, it might be kind of neat to like make a frame out of the florals. And I started off trying to put it on that pink paper, and I just feel like the pink flowers and the florals are getting kind of lost on that paper. And so I pull out this white cardstock and decide that it really pops off that white cardstock. And then I decide I want to frame around the pictures to kind of have the flowers coming up from around the border paper. And so I pick out this carrot paper, and I decide that I want to use this. Now, I kind of messed this up because I usually will always gut my paper so that I can use the other piece of it. And I was thinking, for some reason, I had a little bit of a brain fart and thought I was going to put it behind the layout. And then I realized, like, oh man, I kind of was not careful about slicing it. So there are like cuts in the paper. And since it was going to be featured in the front, I was like, oh, well, now I've got those cuts there. So what do I do? So then I thought, well, maybe I'll put the flower border on top of it just to hide those cuts that I had made. And then I end up rectifying that here after this. I decide I just don't really like the florals popped up like this on top of it. I feel like the paper kind of gets lost and the florals kind of get lost on the paper. So I do go back to my original idea and have the floral pop up underneath it. But then I thought, well, maybe I can hide those slices by just adding a frame. And so here, this was some leftover paper that I was just going to see if I could use as a frame. Didn't like that, and so you're going to see me kind of pull in some different papers to see if I can make a frame to hide some of those slices in that border. I decided I really like how that blue paper looks around it, and so I just cut it into thin strips, and then I'm going to use that as a border, and that kind of hides the spots where I accidentally cut a little too far on the border. And so here I'm just going to start getting this all adhered down. So now I have that blue frame. And then I'm going to start popping up the florals behind the frame. And so I just glue do adhesive on the back, and then put the florals down, and then put the frame over just to figure out where exactly I wanted the florals to sit. Now I do take my white cardstock and set it aside just so that way if I accidentally misstuck this, I wasn't going to end up getting it on the cardstock and then having to rip the cardstock in an attempt to try to get it up. So and then all of these I end up cutting off the ends, the excess, and then this is just some craft tape that I purchased. I'm just going to tape up those pieces just so then that way any exposed adhesive doesn't stick on anything I don't want, and to also keep it from those pieces from getting ripped up or anything while I was working with the paper. So now I'm just making sure, do I want it on the white cardstock? So you'll see me pull in a couple different papers just to see if I was sure that I wanted it on the white cardstock, and I do ultimately decide I like the white cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and get this frame put down onto the base cardstock here. And while I'm making this layout, I really don't know what pictures I'm going to use yet. A lot of time when I start doing these layouts, a lot of time I craft when it's late at night, and so I don't want to fire up the printer and wake up the kids. So a lot of time I'll start these layouts and then not have pictures printed up. I kind of have an idea to an extent what I'm going to use, but I just don't have any pictures printed up. This little guy I just thought was so cute. As soon as I got the order in, a little droopy bunny, I've got to get him worked in. So I'm just going to go through the ephemera pieces that came with the kit and kind of set some stuff aside here that I like. And then once I get the pictures printed off and mounted, then I'll start to kind of build these clusters and decide exactly what I want. I do lay out quite a bit of stuff here. I'm not sure that I'll use a lot of it, or if I'll use, most of it or not. But I just kind of try to set aside stuff that I think would work. These are little fabric bunnies that came in the kit, so I'm going to set those aside. And this is a button from, I think from another kit. That might have been from Shimmer. That was from Shimmer's March kit, I believe. And I think it says honey bees and flowers please or something like that. So I kind of set that aside because I'm like, well, that's kind of springy. And this is how I will typically do layouts. I usually will get the paper down, get most of that built up, and then I will pull a bunch of embellishments and then start to work with the embellishments after I get the pictures down. And the photographs that I am documenting are of my daughter from a couple years ago, Easter egg hunting. I definitely have to get this little droopy, I kind of refer to him as Droopy Bunny. That's just what he makes me think of. So put him down on the one corner there, and then I'm going to build up this other upper corner. All of the pieces that you see me using are all from, at this point, are all from Color Rush Studio. And oftentimes scrapbooking, I just feel like a lot of the time it's moving everything around on the page and just trying to figure out what draws your eye, what makes sense to your eye. I like this little label tucked up underneath that upper left-hand corner. And then I'm just trying to build up the little droopy bunny there a little bit with some carrots and an egg. This guy, I wasn't sure where to put him, so I was just kind of moving him around, and I kept going back to that page. Now these are little fabric flowers that were included in the kit, and I'm just going to put a couple of those down on the layout as well. I end up just using just my regular glue, and I did notice they're a little loose, so I do have to go back and hot glue them. This button is the button that I was talking about earlier that's from Shimmer's Paint. I'm just going to tuck up a little carrot up there just to kind of give some more contrast with the bunny there. And then I am trying to figure out what to do with this, all this blank white space up here. And so I did fussy cut out these rabbits holding the banners and try to work it in because I feel like they're really cute. But I just can't find a good spot for them there. And now these are all acrylic pieces that came in a separate set that you could purchase on Color Rush. And I decided I like the Snuggle Bunny acrylic set up there, so I'm just gonna kind of work with that. And off camera, I end up adding 2022, and those are pink stickers that were purchased from Hip Kit Club. And here are some close-ups of the layout. I hope you enjoyed watching my process video, and I hope you'll join me again.